Okay, so I'm back in my Mac OS where we left off. And the next thing you need to do is set up our GitHub account. So let's go to the browser. We'll actually make it full screen here and we'll say github.com. And github.com will ask you to sign up for an account. It's very simple. Just give it the username, pick the username you want, give it the email address and a password. And then you sign up. I'm already signed up, so I'll go ahead and click sign in. I'll use my username and password and click sign in. And I'm in. I don't want it to remember my password. Your view will probably look very different than mine. You probably have different repositories. If you've never done this, you probably have no repositories here. So the first thing you want to do is create your own repository, and I suggest you use one repository for the entire course. So you go to this top right here, you see this plus sign next to your icon here, and you click this down arrow and click new repository. And I'm just going to name it Coursera-test, but you could name it whatever you want. Coursera or your course, whatever you want. And we'll give a description, test Coursera repo. And we're going to keep it as public because private costs money, so we're going to go ahead and keep it for free. And we'll click here, initialize this repository with a README file, always a good idea. And all I have to do is click Create Repository, and the repository is created. Now, since you're going to be using this repository for your assignments in this course, the next thing you want to do is make your repository deployable, or make your repository such that it can be viewed as a regular website on the web. Luckily, GitHub provides this functionality for free, and it's actually very convenient. If you go to the settings, which is right here on the right, you could scroll down and you'll see that there's something called GitHub Pages. Well, it says here GitHub Pages is designed to host your personal organization or project pages from a GitHub repository. Now, it used to be you had to designate a special branch in your repository, and if you look up here and if you look back to the original, you could see that we are on the branch master. So let's go back to the settings. So it used to be you had to create a special branch for that, but GitHub simplified that. So all you have to do is, right now it says it's currently disabled. We'll click this down arrow and we'll say that what we want to be displayed on our GitHub pages is exactly what is sitting inside of the master branch. That is what I recommend you do for this course. We'll click that, we'll click save. When we click save, it will tell us that GitHub pages source saved. So if we scroll down again, you'll see that your site is ready to be published and it's giving us a URL. You can see it's a URL very close to what we have. It's my username.github.io / the name of our repository, which is Coursera-test. I'm going to go ahead and open it in a new tab. And you can see there's nothing here yet because there's nothing in my repository. We're going to change that in a minute. We'll close that. We'll go back up to our repository, and you'll see here it says clone or download button, the green button. If we click that, you can go ahead and copy the link, which is the link to your repository that you can actually use on a command line to clone it, or to copy it, or to download it from GitHub to your local machine. So we'll click this copy to clipboard, and we'll go back to our terminal. And now we could use GitHub commands to pull this repository down to our, or pull, otherwise known as download really, our repository to our local machine. So let's go ahead and say git clone. That's the command to pull it or to clone it or to copy it. And we'll go ahead and paste whatever we copied from the website. If we press enter, the whole thing gets downloaded. And now if we do NLS, you can see that Coursera test is one of the things that showed up. Now, if we go ahead and CD into Coursera test, what we would like to do is we would like to create a whole project that is based right here at pwd. You'll see I'm sitting inside of the Coursera test folder. So I'd like to start the entire project in my Atom editor straight from this particular folder, but I don't want to have to navigate back to it again. I'm already here. So one way of doing it is to call Atom with a dot, meaning this particular directory. I want you to go ahead and start Atom and place the project as being in this folder. So if I press now, it's not going to work. And the reason that's not going to work is because we haven't set up Atom to do that. Let's go ahead and click the Atom icon. And once it opens, we can go to the Atom menu and click Install Shell Commands. We're going to have to give it our password. And it says they have been installed, and you could call it Atom or APM. Both commands are installed. We're only going to need Atom for this course. So we'll click OK. We'll go back. We'll go ahead and actually quit that whole thing altogether. We'll go back and we'll say again Atom dot and press enter. And this time it's going to open our entire directory as the base of our project. So now we create new files straight inside the Coursera-test. Let's create a simple file called index.html. And we'll say that this is HTML. And we'll say this is hello Coursera. And we'll give it just a simple h1 tag that says hello Coursera. And we'll save it. Now, as we develop, we would like to see an immediate feedback as to what we're developing right in the browser. So one way of doing it is to use browser sync. So let's go ahead and open a tab here, and we'll make the browser smaller so we could see it side by side together with our editor. And we'll go back to the command line, and since we're sitting right now inside the Coursera test, we can issue a browser sync command that goes like this: browser-sync, and then we want to start the browser sync, and we want to start it in -- server mode, which means I want you to serve up everything that's in this directory. And we'll also start it with -- directory mode. And what that's going to do is it's going to serve up the directory. Even if there's nothing in it, it will at least show us the directory. And last but not least, we'll say which files do we want to watch for changes. And once those files changes, I want you to go ahead and reload it. And what we want to watch is we want to watch any directory, that's **/*, meaning any directory and anything in that directory. We'll close that quote, we'll press enter, and voila, it started up our browser sync. And if you look at our browser and our Atom editor side by side, you can see that here's our index.html. If we click on it, you'll see hello Coursera. And what's really cool about it is because I can actually now say hello Coursera students, and the second I save it, you can see that browser sync will automatically update whatever it is that is in your files and will reload the page for you automatically. So as you type, you can quickly see what's going on right in your browser, and it is very convenient. Okay, so the only thing that's left now that I've edited my file is to go back to the command line and go ahead and we'll quit the browser sync. We'll do an ls just to see what's in it. So we see our index.html. And then we'll do a command called git status to see what our git status is. And it's telling you that we have one untracked file here, which is index.html. And Git is usually very good in telling you what you might want to do next. And what it says here, you could say git add and the file name to include in what will be committed. In other words, git add is a command to mark whatever it is that you're going to specify, in this case index.html, to mark it for committing it to the repository. So we'll say dot to say anything in this directory, and when we press enter and do git status again, you'll see that now we have changes to be committed, and you can see the file is green and it says it's a new file. So if I'm committing this, this file is the one that's going to get committed to the repository. Now the way to commit it is to say git space commit -m for message, that's required, and the message I could commit with first web file, and press enter. And now it's giving you a whole long message here telling you that I never really told Git that I have installed here who I am exactly. Didn't tell it my name, I didn't tell it my email address, and that's really okay because at least in this version of Git, it's automatically configuring it for you, saying I'm just going to grab whatever it is you registered your account with and grab this really kind of meaningless email, yakov@yakovsmac.local. It doesn't really matter. This email is not really used for anything other than announcing to other users of your repository who you are and how to get in touch with you. So we're going to just leave it alone, and we could go ahead and do git status again. Let's clear the page. Terminal, git status. And we could see that we're on branch master, and your branch, meaning the one local to your computer, is ahead of the origin master by one commit, meaning we've committed something, but the master itself, the one that's sitting, or the origin master, the one that's sitting in GitHub, is actually kind of behind. So we are ahead of it by one commit. That means that at this point, I have code on my computer that is in my repository, but it is not in the github.com repository. In order to upload this code to github.com repository, it's actually giving you a hint here. Use git push, and that does upload. Git push, and this is the first time I'm using Git on this particular instance of this machine, and I never told it which type of pushing, which type of upload I want to apply using Git. Well, the one that's recommended is right here, the one's called simple. We'll go ahead and copy that, and we'll quit that for now so it doesn't bug us again about it. We'll issue that command and have the git dot or push dot default be simple. Enter that, and we'll go ahead and clear it, and we'll do one more time git push. In this case, it's going to start asking me for my username, and I go ahead and enter my username and my password. Note, as I type in the password, nothing is actually showing up, and that's okay. It's the expected behavior. I'm going to press enter. It will go ahead and push the code changes that I made locally to the repository at GitHub, and it's telling you right here that it did that. And if you do the git status right now, you'll say we're on branch master and everything is up to date and nothing to commit and working directory is clean. Now we can actually view this index.html back in GitHub. Let's go ahead and go to our browser again. Let's make this full screen again. And let's close these up. And we'll go to our repository. Let's do a reload. And you can see now we have an index.html inside of our repository, and that is what we committed and pushed to this repository just a minute ago. Now, suppose I forgot what my link is supposed to be, because it's not github.com, it's actually GitHub Pages, which is github.io. Well, the way I could get back to that link is pretty easily. I could just click on the settings again, scroll down to where my GitHub pages are, right here, the configuration for GitHub pages, and here's my link. I could click on that link right now. Let's open it in a new tab. When I open it, since I have index.html sitting in that directory, it will automatically go ahead and serve the index.html to me, and you could see hello Coursera students is what shows up. That's the file that we edited. Now for your assignments, what you're going to want to do is create subfolders in your repository, like module 1 assignment or something like that. You go ahead and follow the particular instructions and put your applications in the subfolders that are specified in the assignment description. And then we could repeat this process as we keep developing. So if we go back to our Atom editor, we can update this file by saying, I am thrilled about this course, and save that. And now if we go to our terminal, and we are already here, we're in pwd, we're inside the Coursera test folder, we could say git status again. You will see that it's showing us index.html as modified. And it's telling us again that we could use git add in order to mark it for committing. So we'll say git add, and instead of giving the index.html, we could just say dot, which means I want to commit anything in this folder and below. We'll press enter, and if I say git status, you can see now that it is marked as modified and marked green, so it's ready to be committed. So I'll say git commit -m, and I'll say new version of web file, and we'll go ahead and press enter. And now it's again telling me that it's committed, but it's complaining that I never identified myself officially. So I could go ahead and do that right now by copying these two commands that it's conveniently giving us. The first one is username, and that's just my name. I could say Yakov, I could say full name, press enter. And the second command it's telling us is user.email. Go ahead and copy and paste that. And the email could be anything. It's really there for other users of GitHub repository again to be able to see what your email address is. So I could say yakov@whatever.com. And let's make this a little bit bigger so you could see what I'm doing here, and press enter. And now I'm no longer going to be bugged about this whole lack of me setting the committer's username and email address. Okay, so now let's clear the screen and let's say git status again. And you can see once again my local branch, my local repository is ahead by one commit from the repository on github.com. So the way to do that, the way to upload all my changes to github.com is to say git push. Git push, that uploads everything to the remote repository. And now if I go back to even straight to my GitHub pages and just reload, right here, you could see that it says, I am thrilled about this course, exclamation point, which means kind of, things took. So I don't need to no longer do anything to upload to any other server. GitHub will automatically be my web server. And this is what you can use for the rest of the assignments in this course.